What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Andy's History Lessons. I've got the hedgehog hair going right now. Okay, so a couple days ago we lost legendary wrestler Road Warrior Animal. So I figured as a wrestling fan I would pay tribute to one of my favorite superstars. So here we go. Joseph Laurinaitis, better known by his stage name Road Warrior Animal, or simply Animal, was an American professional wrestler. Along with Road Warrior Hawk, he was one half of the tag team The Road Warriors, or Legion of Doom. He headlined many pay-per-view events for the World Wrestling Federation and World Championship Wrestling, competing for the World Championship Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship at 2001's Sin. Laurinaitis was born on September 12, 1960, to Lithuanian parents. He grew up in Minnesota, having to work for a living at an early age. Because of his size and love of powerlifting, Laurinaitis was an imposing figure and thus a very effective bouncer. He worked as a bouncer at a club in the Twin Cities where he caught the attention of Eddie Sharkey, a well-known wrestling trainer. Eddie Sharkey thought that Joseph Laurinaitis, Mike Hegstrand, I hope I'm pronouncing that legend's name correctly, that's the guy who became Hawk, Richard Rude, who later became Ravishing Rick Rude, and Barry Darsow would all do well in professional wrestling, and thus trained all four of them. Early career, 1982 to 1983. Laurinaitis made his debut in November 1982 competing as the Road Warrior, using a biker gimmick. After only a few matches as a singles competitor, his career and life would change thanks to an idea by Paul Ellering. American and Japanese Territories, 1983 to 1986. When Paul Ellering was looking to put together a stable of heels, in wrestling terminology, heels are the bad guys, the bad characters. In Georgia Championship Wrestling, called the Legion of Doom, it was decided to put Laurinaitis together with his good friend Mike Hegstrand and change their names to Animal and Hawk, respectively. Thus, the Road Warriors were born. They first started out as biker gimmicks. To look more intimidating, the two shaved their heads into mohawks and started wearing studded dog collars, spiked shoulder pads, and face paint. The look and name were taken from The Road Warrior, helping to paint the two as No Mercy monsters. Their interview style was vicious yet charismatic and a bit humorous. The team was an instant hit, revolutionizing the tag team scene with their power moves, no mercy attitudes, and innovative face paint that would spawn many future imitators in wrestling. In Georgia, they won the National Wrestling Association National Tag Team Championship 4 times before moving on to bigger promotions, such as the American Wrestling Association in the US and All Japan Pro Wrestling, winning more tag team titles. Jim Crockett Promotions, 1986 to 1990. Their hard-hitting style, no-nonsense attitude, and winning ways made the Road Warriors fan favorites. Even when they were booked as heels, the fans refused to boo them. They started to split their time between the AWA and the National Wrestling Alliance until finally leaving the AWA for big money contracts with the NWA and a huge push for the Monster Duo. The move paid off instantly as they won the inaugural Jim Crockett Sr. Memorial Cup Tag Team Tournament and feuded with the top stars of the NWA, such as the Four Horsemen and the Russian team, which included the Road Warriors' old training buddy Barry Darsow. During their initial run in the NWA, they helped popularize the War Games match, the Scaffold match, and their trademark Chicago Street Fight. In 1988, the Road Warriors engaged in a violent feud with the Powers of Pain, the first team that could truly match the Road Warriors in power, and who were one of the most well-known Road Warrior clones. The angle abruptly ended when the Powers of Pain left the NWA after finding out they were booked against the Road Warriors in a series of scaffold matches, and they did not want to get hurt by falling off the scaffold. Near the end of 1988, the Road Warriors captured the NWA World Tag Team Championship from the Midnight Express, whom they mauled in short order to win the titles. After being the uncrowned champions for a long time, the Road Warriors' run with the tag team titles was short-lived. Teddy Long used a fast count to cheat the Road Warriors out of their titles. In their last year with the NWA, the Road Warriors feuded mainly with the Varsity Club, the Samoan SWAT team, and the Skyscrapers before leaving the NWA in the summer of 1990 due to conflicts with Jim Herd. World Wrestling Federation, 1990 to 1992. The Road Warriors immediately signed with the World Wrestling Federation in 1990 and were pushed into a feud with the most famous of all Road Warrior clones, Demolition, a group which included their old training partner Barry Darsow. Due to the ailing health of Axe, one of Demolition, he was replaced by Crush, but the magic of the original Demolition was gone and the feud did not live up to the high hopes of the fans. Just over a year after signing with the World Wrestling Federation, the Legion of Doom won the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championship and held it for about 8 months. When they lost the titles, they briefly left the World Wrestling Federation, only to return with longtime manager Paul Ellering by their side, as well as a wooden ventriloquist dummy called Rocco. Both members of the Legion of Doom thought the Rocco gimmick was stupid, and it led to Hegstrand walking out of the World Wrestling Federation immediately following SummerSlam 1992, leaving Laurinaitis on his own for the first time in 9 years. Animal went ahead and finished his contractual obligations with the World Wrestling Federation as a singles wrestler and occasionally teaming with former rival Crush, formerly of Demolition. During a handicap match in Japan against the Beverly Brothers in September 1992, Laurinaitis legitimately injured his back from a botched double suplex and had to take a lengthy hiatus. His last match was a victory over Papa Shango in San Francisco, California on October 16th. After this, his back was too injured to allow him to wrestle. World Championship Wrestling, 1993-1996. Laurinaitis made some non-wrestling appearances in World Championship Wrestling in 1993. On August 18th, at the Clash of the Champions 24, Animal made his appearance, getting out of a black Camaro Z28, indicating his partner Hawk was Dustin Rhodes' mystery partner against Rick Rude and The Equalizer. On September 19th at Fall Brawl, Animal was the advisor for Sting's team, consisting of Sting, Davey Boy Smith, Dustin Rhodes, and the Shockmaster for War Games, defeating Big Van Vader, Sid Vicious, and Harlem Heat. For the next couple of years, Laurinaitis stayed out of the wrestling ring, collecting on an insurance policy from Lloyd's of London, while Hegstrand competed all over the world. Near the end of 1995, Laurinaitis' back had finally recovered enough for him to return to active competition. 3 years after everyone thought the Road Warriors had ended, they reunited and signed a contract with World Championship Wrestling. On January 4th, 1996, Animal seconded Hawk in his match against Scott Norton in New Japan Pro Wrestling's annual Tokyo Dome show. Upon their return in January 1996, they immediately started a feud with the Steiner brothers, who returned in March, and Harlem Heat, before moving on to challenge the World Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champions Sting and Lex Luger. The Road Warriors had several shots at the champions, but never won the title in the 6 months they were with the company. The Steiner brothers also arrived shortly after the Warriors did and feuded with them to try to prove who the best team of all time was. The Steiners got the better of the feud and the Warriors left World Championship Wrestling in June 1996. Return to World Wrestling Federation, 1997 to 1999. After leaving World Championship Wrestling, they returned to the World Wrestling Federation, where the Legion of Doom took part in the Stone Cold Steve Austin versus the Hart Foundation feud, siding with Austin against the Harts. The Legion of Doom also became two-time tag team champions on October 7th, 1997, when they defeated the Godwins. In November 1997, the Legion of Doom faced the newly formed New Age Outlaws and lost the titles to the Upstart team. After several unsuccessful challenges, the Legion of Doom were repackaged as Legion of Doom 2000 with manager Sunny, although she did not stay with the team for long. At the same time, Paul Ellering returned, but sided with Disciples of Apocalypse, whom Legion of Doom were feuding with at the time. Ellering and Animal explained on the Road Warriors DVD that it was hard for Ellering to work with another team against the Road Warriors and difficult to rip on his former team in promos. In 1998, the Legion of Doom became involved in their most controversial angle, playing off Hegstrand's real-life drug and alcohol problems. Hawk started to show up drunk or unable to perform on TV. As Hawk proved more and more erratic and unreliable, a third Legion of Doom member, Puke, yes, that was the guy's actual stage name, Puke, was introduced to the team with Animal while Hawk dealt with his personal issues. The storyline ended with accusations that Puke had been the, quote, enabler of Hawk's problems, exploiting them to take Hawk's place in the team. During the controversial segment, Hawk was shown to have fallen off the Titantron. Neither Hegstrand nor Laurinaitis approved of the World Wrestling Federation exploiting Hegstrand's personal problems, which caused them to subsequently leave the World Wrestling Federation. While the Road Warriors never officially broke up, Animal started making an increasing number of solo appearances after they left the World Wrestling Federation, as Hegstrand struggled with drug and alcohol addiction. Returned to Japan, Australia, and independent circuit, 1999 to 2000. After his release from World Wrestling Federation, the Road Warriors wrestled at the All Japan Pro Wrestling Giant Baba Memorial Show, defeating Jun Akiyama and Kenta Kobayashi in Tokyo, Japan on May 2nd, 1999. In 2000, the Road Warriors worked for iGeneration Superstars of Wrestling in Australia, feuding with The Public Enemy over the iGeneration tag titles. They also worked in the independent circuit. Later that year, Animal wrestled for Battle Arts in Japan as Animal Warrior, teaming with Alexander Otsuka. Returned to World Championship Wrestling, 2001. In January 2001, Animal returned with a prominent position in World Championship Wrestling as the, quote, enforcer of the stable known as the Magnificent Seven, with the objective to protect World Championship Wrestling World Champion Scott Steiner. The Magnificent Seven split up shortly before Vince McMahon purchased World Championship Wrestling in March of 2001. Animal's contract was not one of the contracts the World Wrestling Federation picked up. Later career, 2001 to 2008. After World Championship Wrestling folded, Animal reunited with Hawk at Jersey Championship Wrestling, defeating the Moondogs 2000 in Lodi, New Jersey on September 8, 2001. The Road Warriors mainly continued working in the independent circuit. In 2002, Animal once again returned to All Japan Pro Wrestling as Animal Warrior, teaming with Keiji Muto. In 2003, the Road Warriors' last stint was for Fighting of World Japan Pro Wrestling, feuding with the Shane Twins. Hawk would die on October 19, 2003. After Hawk's death, Animal returned to the ring nearly a year later, focusing on his singles career. On May 11, 2008, Animal teamed with Power Warrior to defeat Damien 666 and El Terrible to win the UWA tag titles for Mexico Dragon Mania 3 in Mexico City, Mexico. Animal would then retire from wrestling. Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, 2002 to 2003, 2007, 2016. The Road Warriors appeared in Total Nonstop Action Wrestling in late 2002 to early 2003 as part of a group that opposed Vince Russo's faction, Sports Entertainment Extreme, but would only wrestle one actual match for the promotion. On June 17, 2007, Road Warrior Animal returned to Total Nonstop Action Wrestling on the pay-per-view Slammiversary with Rick Steiner. He replaced Scott Steiner, who was out with an injury. They ended up losing to Team 3D. On December 15, 2016, Animal returned to TNA for a guest appearance on the Impact Wrestling special Total Nonstop Deletion. Second return to World Wrestling Entertainment, 2003, 2005 to 2006, 2011 to 2012. Animal and Hawk made a surprise appearance on Raw on May 12, 2003 when they took on Kane and Rob Van Dam for the World Tag Team Championship. Animal made a return to World Wrestling Entertainment on the July 14th episode of SmackDown in 2005, where he was challenged by the then World Wrestling Entertainment Tag Team Champions MNM to a title match at the Great American Bash. Finding a new tag team partner in Heidenreich, Animal went on to defeat MNM for the titles, dedicating the win to Hawk by saying, quote, "Hawk, this one was for you, brother," end quote. The two would team up for a few months in a new chapter of the Legion of Doom, with Heidenreich adopting the Legion of Doom's shoulder pads, face paint, and mohawk haircut. However, this came to an end with Heidenreich's release from World Wrestling Entertainment on January 17, 2006. On the March 3, 2006 episode of SmackDown, Animal teamed up with Matt Hardy to face MNM. After he and Hardy lost the match, Animal turned heel for the second time in his career by attacking and injuring Hardy's knee. Animal reasoned that he had realized that Hardy and Heidenreich were screw-ups and that Road Warrior Hawk was the only tag team legend and partner for him. After the heel turn, Animal, once again known simply as the Road Warrior, would drop many aspects of the well-known Road Warrior gimmick, losing the face paint and shoulder pads. Animal's look at this time was similar to his old Road Warrior gimmick in the early 1980s he had prior to teaming up with Hawk. On the March 17th episode of SmackDown, Animal lost to Hardy in a Money in the Bank qualifying match. Animal was defeated by United States Champion Chris Benoit on the March 31st episode of SmackDown. In his final WWE match, Animal defeated Paul Burchill on the May 6, 2006 episode of Velocity. On June 26, 2006, Animal was released from his WWE contract. WWE announced on March 28, 2011 on WWE Raw that the Road Warriors would be inducted into the 2011 Hall of Fame. Animal also spoke openly about his future induction on Right After Wrestling just minutes after the announcement on WWE Monday Night Raw. Animal told hosts Arda Ocal and Jim Corderas that the WWE was going to create a physical Hall of Fame in Tampa, Florida, and he was going to donate his trademarked spiked shoulder pads to that hall. On the July 20th, 2012 episode of WWE SmackDown on Sci-Fi, Animal returned to face Heath Slater in honor of Raw's 1000th episode. He went on to squash Slater. He then reappeared on the actual 1000th episode on July 23rd with other WWE legends to help Lita take down Slater. And real quick before I end the video, I want to briefly mention the video game WWE Legends of WrestleMania by THQ. I'll do a Fun Fridays video on the whole game, but I just want to say both members of the Road Warriors, Animal and Hawk, are featured in that game as playable characters. So if you want to get this game and recreate or create your own moments with the Road Warriors, this game allows you to do that. It's one of the best games I've ever played. Okay, guys, that is it. This concludes my tribute to Road Warrior Animal. May his spirit rest well. Please remember to like this video, leave a comment, share it with your friends and family, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and follow me on Facebook at AndyDeandrea2. And yes, you need to put in the Roman numerals, the 2 I's. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope that you've had a good day, or that you have had a nice day. Peace out and rock on. See you next time.